Things seem a little bit wonky. DIY gods are with us today. This is her first time framing a wall. You think it's too big?
Yes.
He is coming in 2 days, so we have to get this done today. Hi everyone, this is Lauren from the LKS Address. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. We are standing in front of our next project, our fireplace. This is our existing brick fireplace, and we're going to be completely redoing this fireplace. We are going to frame it out, add drywall, add stone, add a mantle, hang the TV. This TV has been sitting on our hearth for probably a year and a half. Before we get started on framing, let's quickly walk you through our fireplace design plan. Let's quickly start with inspiration images. And as we looked at fireplace inspo, there was a very common theme, and that common theme was clean stone, but with a more traditional edge. We like the idea of doing stone with a wood mantle, and we also have to incorporate the existing hearth. Now let's take you through our design renderings in our design plan. This is a 3D walkthrough of our proposed family room. You can see for the fireplace, we're going to be doing a stone fireplace with a wraparound built-up wood mantle. We'll also have some additional elements on the fireplace wall, but we will not cover those in this video. For a project like this, I spent months researching the code, researching the proper way to frame out this fireplace, and we decided to go with metal framing. Because this is such a large project and there's so many complex components, I decided to plan out all of the framing ahead of time so that when it came to doing the work, we were able to execute it and not really have to think about what we were doing. We just kept referring to this plan, and it really helped make it go a lot smoother. We just moved the TV off of the hearth, which we had said has been there for like a year and a half. And both of us were just like shocked how weird seeing our actual fireplace opening and screen looks, because we literally have not seen it like basically since we moved in this house. Today's the day we start framing this, so we're gonna get everything cleaned up and take this off and start planning out our framing. We'll be using 3 5/8 inch metal studs. We picked all of the materials up at Home Depot. Also, don't forget to get the track for the top and bottom if you're using metal studs. I am cutting them with metal snips. I actually use these for the brass trim around our hood, so it came in handy. We already had them. Using a speed square, a marker, and an X-Acto knife to help score and mark the cuts. And then we're getting started on the bottom track, which was a little tricky. You'll see that soon. Also using masonry screws, Tapcons, to attach this into the existing brick. We started with our regular drill. It was not powerful enough to drill these out in the masonry, so we went and got a hammer drill, and it made all the difference. We can start that one first. Running into a little bit of an issue here. We got our 2 first pieces of track screwed in, and then I just wanted to triple check because things seem a little bit wonky, and it's really hard to tell. We used our laser level to try and get a straight line across from the opening to make sure that everything was straight, but it's just like checking our measurements, it's not really like adding up. So then we decided to add the full track that's gonna go on the ceiling next to it. And we can see that there's some gaps as we move. We clamped it at the opening because that's the one thing that can't change. And here we get really unstraight. Unscrew the tracks we just laid besides the screw at the fireplace opening and align them so that they're straight with the track that's gonna go on the ceiling. That way we know at least everything is straight. And I'm trying to measure off of the hearth so that when the hearth goes in, it looks perpendicular, or parallel, sorry, to the wall. I don't know if we could have figured this out before we got the track in, kind of hard to tell, but these things are always tricky because you don't know what's straight and what's crooked. I don't think we can get the track up there then. I think the track has to be held up and then get that stud in, get both sides in maybe, and I can try and hold it. Once we got the bottom track in, we used the laser level to line it up perfectly on the ceiling, and we installed the top track. We screwed these into the joists with GRK multi-purpose screws. How's it going, Cameron?
Dad shake approved.
It looks so weird. Cam had the really intelligent idea. We couldn't figure out like how to get the top track up and make sure it was straight and level and everything. So we kind of just took two ends and propped it up and then clamped it all together so we could get the track in the right spot. And everything is looking really good. And we got really lucky as well because our joists are running parallel to the fireplace, but we hit one on our top track. So the DIY gods are with us today. Then we decided to work inside out, and we next framed the opening around the firebox. This started to get a little complicated. We had to do some just problem solving and figuring out how we were actually going to attach these. That's where metal studs get a little tricky. Also just want to say that this is her first time framing a wall and using metal studs. Did a lot of research, a lot of helpful blogs. I can link some of them below that we used. But here we are cutting out corners so we can fold down the metal stud. Therefore it has an attachment point to the vertical members. Once you see it go in, it might make a little bit more sense. But the blogs that we referenced were just really helpful in learning all of these methods. And again, working from the center out, once we finished the firebox framing, everything went really quick from there. Just installing the verticals a maximum of 16 inches on center. Sturdy as I'm not worried about it once it's all, that means we're doing a good job. Then it was time to start adding our TV blocking. We're using 1x6 blocking specifically at the TV for the TV mount, and then also at some areas lower so that we have support and somewhere to screw in the mantle. We've made a lot of progress on the framing and we got all of the metal stud framing done, which is a relief. We also, as you can see behind me, got the blocking for the TV and we added some blocking for the mantle because we figured you can't have enough blocking. Only a couple more things to do before we're ready to throw up the drywall. So let's finish up the framing portion of this project. Lastly, we finished up by adding some furring strips at the hearth. We needed to build out to compensate for that brick overhang so that everything could be flush. We used 2x4s and we ripped them down to the appropriate size. Just got the drywall delivery from Home Depot, which means we can keep going on the next phase of the fireplace. And I was really excited that I was able to get a 10-foot wide piece of drywall because now the fireplace will only need one full sheet. Now it is time to put up the drywall. On each side of the fireplace, we did not want to add any width to this fireplace, so instead of adding more framing to cover the brick on the sides, we opted to just glue the drywall straight to the brick on one side and then screw into the stud on the other so we could minimize adding any more width to this fireplace. So that's what we're doing first. We're using the PL Loctite glue and it worked great. Once we finish the drywall on the sides, then we're going in with the bottom half cement board. We are using cement board at the bottom and around the firebox because it's non-combustible and it is the best backing for stone. We cut this cement board just like we cut drywall with a utility knife and a drywall saw. Also worth noting, not using drywall screws. There are special screws for cement board. We can leave a link for those below if you're interested. As I mentioned, we were really excited that we were able to get a 10-foot sheet of drywall because our fireplace is 8'2" wide. So an 8-foot wide piece of drywall wasn't large enough. We would have to have a seam somewhere. The 10-foot sheet allowed us to just put up one sheet, which made it so much easier for us to install.
With the legs.
Okay. We could lift it a little bit and have more of a gap here where you're not going to see it. Let's maybe cut a little bit away and get it closer up.
I don't know what it makes.
Should I ask my dad?
Sure.
There it is. Hello, we have a quick question.
Sure.
Okay. A gap up here?
Yes.
You think it's too big?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna split the difference. We're gonna have a little gap here because it's getting covered by the mantle
Okay.
and get that closer.
Yes. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
And then we used our laser level to note where the studs were, and cam just went up every 6 to 8 inches with drywall screws. The drywall and framing stage of the fireplace is done. Feels like such an accomplishment to get to this point. Now we can get a quote from our drywaller and he is gonna finish the tape and mud and the corner bead. We like it to look extremely professional. Gonna be off to him and then off to our stone fabricator, and then we will do the finishing touches with the mantle and some of the trim and baseboard. But it feels amazing to have gotten this done, and it went pretty smooth. I have been thinking about this project for probably 8 months, researching, trying to figure out everything we needed, including the box and all the Smurf tube and the framing and the code. And it's here, and it's really exciting. Our drywaller finished up at the fireplace, and we're one step closer to getting ready to template the stone, which is really exciting. It only took him 2 days, which is insane. It's so worth the money to just have a professional do it, because now we know it's done correctly, and we didn't have to like do 8 coats of sanding, which we probably would have had to do because we're not experienced. Now it's time to prime, and then we will work on putting up the perimeter of the mantle so our fabricator knows where the stone is going to end and the mantle is going to begin. So let's get started on that. We mentioned our drywaller finished drywalling, and we have primed the fireplace. So the next step is getting the mantle roughed in so that our fabricator knows where to template the stone. He is coming in 2 days, so we have to get this done today. And we were working on a little mock-up of our fireplace mantle. So we have the stone, which is going to be on the hearth like this. And then we have the outside of the mantle is going to be a wood piece that is flush with the drywall. And today we're working on the back piece of wood for the mantle that everything is going to attach to. So essentially, this is going to be a 1x6 that's going to wrap around the fireplace opening. And this is going to tell the fabricator where the stone is going to stop, so he knows where to template to. We're going to be using 1x6s as the backing for our mantle. Our mantle is a combination of 1x6s and some more custom profiles built up together. This is just a rough piece of wood as a backing, and this will help the fabricator know where to stop the stone. This level where we're turning it. This is also where some of that wood blocking we added came in handy, because it gave us a place to screw the 1x6 into, and I wish that we had added a piece at the very bottom of each side. We ended up using a combination of glue and screws on the vertical pieces because we didn't have anything to screw into at the very bottom.
And that's going to be a wrap on part 1 of our fireplace project. We got all the metal studs in behind the drywall, got the drywall installed, cement board for the stone, and a template mantle for our stone installer to come template, which is going to be happening very soon. But you're going to want to come back for part 2, where the stone will be installed, and we'll be working on a traditional mantle with a ton of super cool detail, and we're going to show you step by step on how we go about that. So if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to our channel, give the video a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.